Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the Quran because I'm trying to get into it. I'm trying to read whatever I can, and I'm trying to implore on the verses that are usually given out or told to people when they're going through a little bit of a tough time. And today I'm going to go over one of those verses, and then I'm gonna provide a little bit of extra context when you read the rest of the verses around it. So let's get into it. So the verse that I'm talking about is from Surah Ankabut, chapter 29, verse 2, which says, "Do people think once they say we believe that they will be left without being put to the test, or that they won't be tested?" And then it goes on to say, "We certainly tested those before them. And in this way, God will clearly distinguish between those who are truthful and those who are liars." Now, the second verse is something that a lot of people give out, and it's like the persecution that people are going through, or if people are going through a tough time and they need to show patience, it's a test from Allah to distinguish between if your faith is strong enough or weak enough, if you're a true believer or if you're a liar, right? And that in itself provides a lot of satisfaction that, okay, all this sabr that I'm doing is not for nothing, right? My God that I have full belief and faith in, that I've said that I have full belief and faith in is testing me to see if I actually walk the talk, essentially. If I've said that I believe in him and he's persecuting me, this is my time to believe, to show that I have belief in him. Because everyone can believe when things are going right? When everything that you want is being delivered to you in a platter, and everything that you're asking for is being given to you, and there's no your patience is not being tested. There's no test that you're going through. Anyone can believe in that moment. When things are great, anyone can believe. It's when the going gets tough is when your belief really gets tested, is when your du'as, you're making du'as and you're making that supplication, you're praying and you're doing everything right, and yet that test that you're being put through is not becoming easy. The thing that you want is not coming to you, is when you truly realize that, okay, do I really believe in him or do I not? Right? Is all this just a waste of time? Are all my prayers and all my supplications just a waste of time? Because clearly he's not listening to me anymore. So is he even there? Do I really believe in him? Because that is what differentiates those thoughts that you get where you're like, do I really believe in him? And then you continue to stick to believing in him and doing the right actions no matter how long it takes. And you believe in his words that say that with hardship comes ease and that the help is near. If you truly believe in him, you truly believe in those words. And if you truly believe in those words, you'll be persistent and you'll have patience and you will keep believing. But if you don't, if your belief is weak, and if you are one of the liars, as the Quran puts it, then as soon as the going gets tough and a little bit of time period passes by where your belief gets tested, you will give up on it. You'll be like, you know what? No, God's help is not near. When's God's help going to come, right? That's one of the things that people say often, where they're like, we've been praying, we've been doing all this, when's his help going to come? This is something that I said not too long ago, where I was like, where I just felt like I was owed the help because I'd done everything right. I'd fasted, I'd prayed, I'd made supplication, I'd made dua. So I was owed his help. But that's not how it works. That's not how tests work. It's when you do believe that you owe his, where that help is owed to you and you don't get it, is when you truly believe is if you're his slave and you're gonna be happy and content in whatever way he keeps you in, and you know that the risk will come from him and him alone, and the ease will come from him and him alone, and you still keep doing those actions that evidently are having no results on your life, right? That's when you truly believe. And then the Quran, the same surah, verse 10 says, "There are some who say we believe in God, but when they suffer in the cause of God, they mistake this persecution at the hands of people for the punishment of God. God will certainly distinguish between those who have sure faith and the hypocrites." So This is another thing that I experienced, and I'm sure people who are going through a tough time, people who are going through persecution at a much greater level than I am in parts of the world are experiencing. And the first inclination when things get tough for you or when things get tough for someone is to say, oh, God is upset with me. God is punishing me, right? But that's not what is happening. He's just testing you. A test is not a punishment, right? This persecution that you're facing from the hands of the people, or for example, if someone doesn't have a job, it's because of the world, the society that the people have built, and we are basically getting the worst of it, is not a punishment from God, but it's only a test. And if we say that this is a punishment, that God doesn't love us anymore and He's punishing us, then we become one of the hypocrites. Then we become one of the liars. Then our faith is not strong enough, because our faith in God is that He is the most merciful. He is the most just. So if He's the most just, and if He's the most merciful, and if He said that I'll only punish you in the afterlife, the punishments of this world are just a test, and we label them as punishments and God being upset with us, then our belief is faltering. So what I'm trying to say is, when you are going through a test, when you are going through a tough period, first of all, you need to realize that it's just a test from God and that it will go away. Good times will come. With hardship comes ease. And it is just a test to test if you are truly faithful in what you believe in, or are you just weak, or what you're saying is just from your mouth, not from your heart, right? Because it's very easy to say that I believe when things are good. It's very tough to stick to that belief when things get tough. And then secondly, do not mistake your tests for punishments. Because that's something I struggle with. This is something I do, where I'm like, God's punishing me now. I've committed all these sins, and these are my punishments. So I got to stick with it. And what that kind of does is it takes away from asking God, supplicating to God for the things that you want, right? The most you will do is just ask for forgiveness. Oh God, forgive me and take away this punishment from me, right? It's all about take it away from me, instead of enjoying the process, enjoying the test itself, reflecting and thinking, okay, what can I do better to make this test easier for me? What can I do better to show God that I truly believe in Him? You know, a lot of people, when they go through a tough time, one of two things happen. They either lose all their faith, or their faith increases by tenfolds. They start doing things that they weren't doing when things were going well for them, to show God that they truly have faith. That's how they show God that we are not one of the liars. We have faith in you, and if you're going to test us, we're going to show you with doubling or tripling our good deeds and good actions that we truly have faith in you. No matter how, in what way you keep us. If you keep us in a worse condition, we'll show you we're better. If you keep us in a better condition, we'll try to keep those values and try to add to them, right? That's what a true believer does. That's what a true believer is. His faith gets stronger when a test, or when a test is put through them. When things are made tough for them, their faith gets stronger. That's what a true believer does, right? So that's it. That's the message, that do not take His tests for a punishment, and grow on your good deeds. Add to your good deeds to show that you truly believe in Him, so that test is made shorter. You get what I mean? If you start elevating yourself to the point that He wants you to be elevated through that test, the quicker you get there, the shorter the test is going to be. You get what I mean? Now, we don't know at what level he's going to be like, all right, you've gotten to the level where I wanted you to get at, but that's the beauty of it. You keep adding, and you try to make it as quickly as possible. Right? You're praying only fard. Now you start adding sunnahs to it. It's still not being elevated from you. Okay, you start praying tahajjud. Okay, it's still not being elevated from you. You start reciting the Quran. You start listening to the Quran. It's still not being elevated from you. You start making more dhikr. You start sending more salawat on the Prophet, right? You start doing charity if you can. You start treating people better if you can. You start learning something new about the deen if you can, right? You start adding to yourself. You start getting spiritually better to show God that you are actually His firm believer, and that your faith is getting stronger as you're being put through the test. That's what you got to do. That's what I think I have to do, right? That's what I'm trying to do. And we're only human. We're gonna resort to our sins, and we're gonna have moments of weakness and moments of despair. But that's when we truly need to persevere and have faith in God and show Him that we're not one of the liars and we're not one of the hypocrites. And we don't just say that we believe. We will believe when that test is being put on us, and when He is testing us. That is when we will truly show how much faith we have in Allah. And that's it. That's all for the video, guys. Until next time, I love you guys.